Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the color guard. Presenting the colors today will be the Long Beach Division C Cadet Corps. Please join me in welcoming Jasmine White to sing our national anthem. Gentlemen, please remove your caps.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets bright glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that a plague was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Thank you, Ms. White. Good morning, everybody, and welcome, thank you, and welcome to Long Beach, California, and our 2013 Capella commencement, the second largest commencement in our 20-year history. I would like to begin by welcoming and introducing to you some of the people here from Capella that have come to share this important day with all of you. I'd like to begin with the Capella University Board of Directors, our board chair, Marcia Ballinger, and board members Cliff Butler, Carmen Cobayas Vega, Robert Fox, Russell Decker, Willie Garrett, Keith Hampson, and the Capella Education Company Chief Executive Officer Kevin Gilligan. Welcome. I would also like to welcome and recognize the Capella deans and outstanding faculty that has come here from across the country to be with you here today to share this important day. And I can tell you from my conversations with the faculty, most of whom have learners and mentees graduating here today. They're nearly excited about all this as you are. I'd also like to acknowledge and introduce to you our Grand Marshal, Sam Palmieri. Sam is also going to be receiving his PhD along with the degrees the rest of you will be receiving a little later this morning from the School of Business and Technology. I'd also like to introduce to you our reader, Dr. Cheryl Ban. Dr. Ban is the chair of our MBA program and a military veteran. And in your programs, you'll see a different name for the reader, Dr. Bruce Francis. And Dr. Francis has been reading names at commencement for Capella really since we started having commencements nearly 20 years ago. Unfortunately, couldn't be here because of a medical issue. He's fine, though very disappointed. But we've placed the very important job of reading all of your names and announcing you in the very capable hands of Dr. Ban. But mostly, I would like to welcome all of you, our nearly 750 graduates, your family and friends who have come here to support you. This is your day, and all of us at Capella are thrilled to share it with you and looking forward to a very exciting day. Welcome to all of our new graduates. I can't tell you, this is my third opportunity to preside as University President over a Capella commencement, how exciting it is for me and for all of us to look out and see so many happy, excited, maybe a little bit nervous people, and I'm including the hundreds of people who are joining us on the live webcast from around the world. Welcome to all of you as well. People have been coming to California for almost 3 centuries because this has really been a land of opportunity. That was true in 1849 when gold was discovered and people came to California in search of a better life. And it's true today as entrepreneurs come from around the globe to use innovative technology to solve the most challenging societal problems in medicine, communication, or education. And you have come here to California, our new graduates, from 45 states, from countries as far away as Norway and Ecuador and Nepal, to be here to recognize the significance of this event. You've committed yourselves to a goal, you've persevered, and ultimately you've accomplished that goal. We at Capella are committed to the success of our graduates and our learners, and so it is the most exciting of days when we can come together and share this with you. One of the favorite things that I have to do, or that I get to do as the president of Capella, is talk to our learners. I get to do this at colloquia, at residency programs, and of course here at commencement. And I thoroughly enjoy hearing your stories. What is it that made you decide to go back to school? How did you get through some of those darkest moments? And what was that moment like when you knew that you were going to successfully complete your program? What did that feel like to you? The faculty and I love hearing those stories, and we got to share a number and hear a number of new ones last night. But each of you has your own story. It's unique, it's compelling, and for us it's truly inspiring. And no matter what hurdles you've had to overcome or what you've had to do to get here today, it's your story and this is your moment. So in a few moments, when Dr. Ban reads your name, I would like you to straighten your back, hold your head high, and stride triumphantly across this stage, because you have richly earned this moment, and I and my colleagues are honored to share it with you. And all of us at Capella wish you the best from this day forward. Thank you very much. Now, I would like to introduce to you our commencement speaker, Ms. Jeanette Walls. Jeanette Walls is a journalist and author of the memoir, The Glass Castle, which has been on the New York Times bestseller list for more than 4 years. The book has sold over 3.5 million copies in the U.S. It's been translated into 22 languages, and it was named one of the top 10 books of the decade by Amazon.com. Jeanette's story gives hope to those facing challenges and makes them realize that anything is possible. Her follow-up book, Half Broke Horses, a true life novel, was released in 2009 and and was an immediate New York Times bestseller. Her newest book, The Silver Star, will be released in just a couple of months. And as a journalist, her work has appeared in New York Magazine, Esquire, USA Today, and many other places as well. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce to you our commencement speaker, Jeanette Walls.
Thank you, Dr. Kenny. This is a glorious day. This is a glorious day. I'm feeling so much joy in this room today, and I feel so honored to be sharing today with you all. And as Dr. Kenny mentioned, you all have such amazing stories, and I feel I could learn so much from each of you. It's an honor to be sharing my story with you guys. And that's ironic because for most of my life, my story was a source of deep shame for me. I used to write about celebrities for a living. That is not the source of shame. I know it should be, but it's not. In fact, I thought I was pretty hot. I lived in New York City. I lived on Park Avenue. I went on the Today Show. I went to Oscars. I interviewed Tom Cruise and Julia Roberts and all those fabulous celebrities. I thought I was something else. And one day I was going to some fabulous celebrity party, and I was stuck in traffic a couple of blocks away from the party, and I glanced out the window, and I saw a homeless woman rooting through the garbage. Now, to most people, she just looked like your average run-of-the-mill homeless woman, but I got a good look at her, and I realized it was my mother. And the emotion that seized me at that moment, I will confess to you, was not love for a mother. It was not even compassion for a homeless person. It was fear. Because I was afraid that my mother would look up and she'd see me and she'd call out my name. And somebody who was going to the same fabulous party that I was going to would hear her. And my secret would be out, the fact that while I was living on Park Avenue and writing about celebrities, my mother was homeless. So to my eternal shame, I slid down in the back of the taxi and I asked the driver to take me home. Once I got home, I paced around the apartment a little bit, glanced in the mirror, and I really didn't like the person I saw there. I got together with my mom a couple of days later. I said, "Mom, what the heck am I supposed to tell people when they ask me about you?" And she looked at me as though I'd asked her a really stupid question, and she said, "Tell the truth." She said, "That's simple enough. Just tell the truth." I thought it was impossible. I thought there was no way. I was convinced if people knew who I really was, I would lose everything. I'd get fired from my job. I'd lose all my friends and whatever little meager standing I'd carved out. But I felt like a fraud and a phony. I felt, I felt that I didn't deserve this place that I'd worked so hard to get. And I felt that I had to sort of come clean and talk about my childhood, this past that I was so ashamed of. And I thought of my earliest memory. I was 3 years old cooking hot dogs for myself out in the desert somewhere. My dress caught on fire. I was rushed to the hospital. Got a bunch of skin grafts. I love the hospital. They took such good care of you. They never ran out of food or anything like that. Changed your sheets even when they didn't look all that dirty. But after 6 weeks there, my father came and rescued me. He scooped me up, ran out of the hospital with the orderlies and everything, hollering for him to stop, and we jumped into the waiting car and sped off. Dad called it doing the skedaddle. When I was growing up, we're always doing the skedaddle. We're always on the run. Cops chasing us, somebody chasing us. Dad said it was the mafia and the CIA. Mom said it was bill collectors. But we're always on the run. Always on the run. And when we weren't chasing after something, when we were running away from something, we were chasing something. See, Dad said all of this sleeping in cars and sleeping in cardboard boxes and eating out of garbage cans, Dad said that was temporary. He said one of these days he was going to build for us a great big mansion out in the desert. It was going to be solar heated, glass walls, glass ceiling. He called it the Glass Castle. All Dad had to do was find gold, and then he would build us our glass castle. Alcoholism and a few other things got in the way, and there were some problems, but I've come to realize, he never did build that glass castle, but he gave us something more valuable, and that is a hope and a dream for the future, and a belief that the circumstances into which you are born are not the circumstances that you have to stay in. That your future is only as great as your dreams and your ambitions and your desire to achieve it. But you know something? Dreams alone aren't enough. You got to have the tools to achieve those dreams. And that is what today is all about. You all have been given the tools. You have the know-all. You have the strength. You've got the dreams. You've been given the tools to go out and achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. And a number of things might have been holding you back for years. The reality of circumstances, obstacles here and there. But I'll tell you another thing that I would bet a lot of you have been held back by. When I was about 4 years old, I thought I heard a monster under my bed. At that age, I kind of knew there was no such thing as monsters, but I still thought I'd heard something. I went and I said to my dad, "Daddy, I think there's a monster under my bed." Half expecting to say, "Honey, there's no such thing as monsters, now go back to sleep." Thing is, if he would have said that, I still would have been afraid. Instead, he says, "Was it a wicked-looking creature with his great big old long sharp teeth?" And I said, "Yeah, maybe." He said, "Oh, that sounds like that old demon. You know, old demon's been chasing me for years. But now I guess he realizes Rex Walls don't scare so easy, so he's going after my kids. Let's go get him." So Dad gets out his great big old hunting knife, gives me a pipe wrench, and we go look into the bed for old demon. Couldn't find him. We go out looking for him in the garbage cans. Dad's cussing up a blue streak, waving around his knife. I'm getting a swing at things, waving around my pipe wrench. "Come here, demon, I'm not scared of you." No demon. Dad sits me down. He says, "You know, honey, just like that old demon, he's a bully. And like most bullies, he's a coward. And he gets his jolly scaring people. Thing you do with old demon is you look him in the eye and you let him know you're not afraid. And he turns tail and runs." Well, what Dad was trying to tell me, of course, was to face my fears. To confront whatever it was that was holding me back. You know, I've always thought of myself as a brave person. I'm not afraid of snakes or spiders or anything like that. When I moved to New York City, I wasn't afraid of muggers. I got beat up wherever I lived. I'm a scrapper. One of the blessings of my life is that I'm a fighter and a scrapper. One of the curses of my life is I'm a fighter and a scrapper. You know, and you look at me cross-eyed, honey, I'll take you on. And I'm a fighter, and I believe everything in life is both a blessing and a curse, and it's entirely up to us which one we choose to focus on. And that ability to fight has come in very handy. What has been difficult is learning not how to fight, and learning to confront the thing that haunted me more than anything, that was stronger than all these other threats out there, stronger because I created it. It was my fears, my belief that I wasn't good enough, that because of my wacky past or whatever, this little demon sitting on my shoulder, whispering into my ear, "You're not good enough. You don't belong in this crowd." And some of y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. And you also know, and that is how you got here, that Dad is absolutely right. You look that old demon in the eye, and it really, really can't hurt you. And if you're truly lucky as I've been, and as lucky as some of y'all have been, you put a harness on that demon, and you put him to work for you. Because it's in those dark areas, those difficulties, that we all face from time to time. That is where you find your strength. Those areas that you don't like about yourself, that you think maybe you're not as good as other people, the best thing you have going for you. Trust me on this. You know, I believe that those of us who face challenges and difficulties, and that probably includes many of you all, can actually be at an advantage over those who haven't. And I came to this conclusion well before the publication of my book, well before I came out of the closet about being poor white trash that made good. You know, I befriended this very well-to-do woman, and she wanted to go on a vacation with me. She knew nothing about my past. And I asked her what it was she was interested in doing, and she wanted to go to something called Outward Bound. And I'd never heard of this here Outward Bound thing before, but she explains to me that you pay a lot of money and then go out into the wilderness and forage for food. And I don't want to say anything, but I'm thinking, honey, the first 17 years of my life were in Outward Bound, you know? I called up my brother. I said, "You are not going to believe this. Rich people got to pay for their hardships, you know?" We thought it was about the funniest thing we'd ever heard in our lives, until I got to know this woman better. And she's an incredibly strong and resourceful woman, but she doesn't know that. She doesn't know that because her parents took away the obstacles in her life. They also took away the gift that we all get from learning to navigate those obstacles. And as much as you guys have learned from Capella, there's so many other lessons to be learned from life, and that you will continue. And we're the lucky ones. We're the lucky ones. We know how to get through tough times. We know how to survive. I used to think the way to feel better about yourself was to feel superior to other people. And as such, I was putting on airs all the time. I was just like, I'd wear designer clothes, trying to pretend I didn't have a past, trying to put other people down so I'd feel good about myself. And as such, I went to this little town in southern West Virginia where I'd grown up after I'd lived in New York City for a while. And I decided to have dinner at a restaurant I'd always been too intimidated to eat at because it seemed sort of fancy. It was a coffee shop, but you know, everything is relative. So I put on my best clothes. I put on my best clothes and I sashay into the coffee shop, acting all hot. Sit down at the booth. Waitress comes over. She says, "Can I help you?" I look at the menu. It says special today fish. Now, I knew from having eaten at fancy restaurants in New York, you know how the waiter comes over and he says, "Oh, yes, the special today is a lovely Chilean sea bass with a caramelized crust, blah, blah, blah," and all that. And so I said, "Yes, what is the fish?" Now, I was being a jerk, because I knew darn good and well what the fish was. It wasn't a lovely Chilean sea bass with a caramelized crust. It was a little square piece of fish with breadcrumbs. It was fish sticks, which, by the way, happens to be my favorite fish. But I was trying to humiliate the waitress into saying, this is not a fancy restaurant like you're obviously used to eating at. This is just a little coffee shop, so that I might feel superior to her. So I said, "Yes, what is the fish?" And she said, "Excuse me?" I said, "The menu says special today fish." "Well, what is the fish?" And she looks at me to see if she had heard what I just asked her. And then she looks around to see if anybody else had heard what I just asked her. And then she says, sort of slow and careful so I can understand, "The fish is an animal, what swims in the water." So here I am trying to feel all superior to her, and she's thinking, "Make 'em pretty dumb where you come from, huh?" You know? And I got to tell you, folks, that was a valuable lesson. That was a valuable lesson. The way to happiness, it's not to pretend you're somebody not. It's not to try to escape your past. It's not to try to feel superior to other people. It's to make that connection, to take what you have and to make the most of it. And like I said, I believe we're the lucky ones. I really do. I believe that those of us who fought so hard to get where we are, we deserve it. We own this. We know this is ours. This is something nobody can take away from you. This education, fame disappears. Beauty, it disappears as well. Wealth, you can lose it in a minute. This education, this is part of you. You are a better person because of this. And no matter what happens in life, you will be prepared to deal with it. Now, I'm making a prediction right now. You will fall from time to time. Things will happen. My mother, she's no longer homeless. I got her to come live with me in New York City, and I no longer live in New York City. I got my mom to come live with me in Virginia. That's where I live now. Not with me. I'm not a saint. We got a place out back. But, you know, it's funny. I told her, I said, "Ma, you know, you got to come live with me." You know, she said, "You live in the sticks. I live in the most exciting city in the world. Why would I want to live with you?" I said, "Because you're homeless." And she said, "I'm not a moocher. I'm not some kind of a charity case." And I said, "Mom, I'm thinking of getting horses and I could really use your help." And she said, "I'll be right there." And it was a valuable lesson for me. And that, you know, there's a type of person out there who puts a sense of independence and a sense of self-reliance even before they put their comfort or their security. And I used to be one of those people. And do I forget what it feels like to have somebody coming up and saying, "You need my help. You can't make it without me." However, if somebody comes and says, "Come help me, come help yourself," I'm there. And that's what an education is about. It's about the tools to help yourself. And it's funny because life presents these lessons from the most amazing places. You just never know where the lessons and the blessings will come from. I thought I was doing my mom a favor by letting her come to live with me, and instead she's given me back so much. The other day, my mom's always in a good mood these days. The other day she was smiling and laughing in a really good mood. I said, "Mom, what are you so happy about today?" She said, "The most wonderful thing happened." I said, "What's that?" She said, "I fell off a horse." Now, my mother is the most optimistic woman in the world. That's her great gift. Dad gave me the gift of dreaming. Mom gave me the gift of optimism. The world gave me the gift of reality. But I said, "Ma, I know you can put a positive spin on absolutely anything, but how could even you think that falling off a horse is a good thing?" And she said, "Well, Jeanette, it's obvious. Any danged fool can ride, but knowing how to fall, Now that takes great talent. And I thought, there you go. Lot of wisdom. When you got money and the income exceeds the outcome and, you're doing okay, anybody can mosey along and look like a genius, right? It's when we fall. It's when we fall that we see what we're really made of. And we all fall. Everybody. There is no shame in falling. The only shame comes if you think that you don't have what it takes to get back up. Most of y'all have probably fallen more than your fair share of times, and I say that's a great blessing. Because you know how to get up. You know that you know how to get up. And if you need a little hand every now and then to get up, that's okay too. There's no shame in that. The truly lucky among us know that we know how to get up. And the truly, truly lucky among us are in a position from time to time to give somebody else a hand. And to say, here, let me help you up. Because you never know. You never know when that person's going to turn around and give you a hand up. And that's not the reason to do it. The reason to do it is because you're in a position to give that person a hand up. And that is when life becomes incredibly beautiful. And if you get a little bit scarred in your fall, that's okay too. Get a little battered and bruised, nothing to be ashamed of. It's your badge of courage. At one point I was dating a kind of well-to-do man, and I thought once he knows the truth about my past, he's going to trot me like a hot potato. So I told him, John, there's some sort of weird things about my past. And he said, such as? I said, well, when I was 3 years old, I got these burns all over. And he said, what are you trying to tell me? I said, I got nasty scars all over. And he said, why are you telling me all this? I said, well, don't want you buying a pig in a poke, I'm kind of damaged goods here. And he said, you're apologizing? He said, oh, no. Don't ever apologize for your scars. He said, those scars are a sign that you've survived and that you are stronger, than whatever it was that tried to hurt you. I thought it was about the kindest and wisest thing anybody had ever said to me. In fact, I married that man. But thank you. Thank you. I thought it was the kindest and wisest thing anybody ever said to me. Until not that long ago, I was addressing an incredibly well-to-do crowd. And I told them that I told that story about wanting to be nice and smooth like everybody else. And this woman comes up to me afterwards, gorgeously coiffed hair, fancy outfit, and diamonds all over her hands. She said, sweetie, come here, let me tell you something. She said, there is no such thing as smooth. She said, you look close enough, silk's got texture. So that's my message to you all today. We all have our texture. We all have our texture. And some of us are lucky enough to have the silky texture. And some of us are lucky enough to have texture that's a little bit rougher. And what I humbly ask of you today is that if you're lucky enough to have that silky texture, just don't think that that somehow makes you less strong. And if you're lucky enough to have texture that's a little bit rougher, just don't think that that somehow makes you less valuable. It is your texture. They are your scars, visible or invisible. They are your scars. They are your stories. And they are what you choose to make of it. So as you go forward, please remember to tell your stories, that you are in control of your stories, to face your demons, to not forget that you know how to fall. And after you go out and do your well-deserved celebration of today, after you finish that, go out and get busy and build your own glass castles. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Just a second. Thank you very much, Jeanette. Jeanette, I really hope after hearing your talk that this doesn't tempt you to feel superior to anybody at all, but we wanted to present you with this medallion as a small token of our appreciation here at Capella. Thanks very much. I don't know if you're going to have to take the hat off for a second. There we go. All right, great, thank you. Thanks very much. Okay, are we ready for the next phase of commencement? All right, it is now time to present the candidates for graduation. Pending confirmation of completion of all requirements, each degree and certificate will be awarded as approved by the Capella University Board of Directors. Dr. Cheryl Ban will present our candidates, and the dean from each school will come forward to congratulate each bachelor's and master's degree candidate. The deans will be joined by a faculty member from each school to hood our doctoral candidates. And our Chief Academic Officer, Amy Donovan, will congratulate each doctoral graduate. Dissertation mentors and committee members, please rise and remain standing as your mentees cross the stage.
First, to cross the stage will be a virtual graduate representing all of the candidates participating through the webcast of today's ceremony. Will the candidates in absentia please stand? I proudly present to you all the candidates for graduation in absentia. Will the candidates from the School of Undergraduate Studies please stand? I proudly present to you the candidates for graduation with the Bachelor of Science in Business. This is the School of Undergraduate Studies, Bachelor of Science in Business, Carolyn Brooks Edgecombe. Jacob Carlson. Karen Kraft. Larry L. Crawford. Kara Renee Cruz. Aida Dolly. Orlando Del Monte. Kim Duncan. Melania Adea Eldridge.
All right, please be seated. Again, congratulations to our newest graduates. And it's important to remember that even after you leave Capella, Capella is still a part of you. I encourage you to stay connected to each other and to Capella through our Alumni Association. And to welcome our new graduates as Capella alumni, please welcome Marcia Ballinger.
Thank you. I'm Marcia Ballinger, and I'm proud to serve as chair of the Capella University Board of Directors, and like you, I am also proud to be a graduate of Capella University. I want to congratulate you first on your accomplishment and welcome you to the Capella Alumni Association. You heard Scott mention earlier the 20 years of Capella University. Today you join 34,000 accomplished Capella graduates who are professionals who, like you, have challenged themselves professionally and personally to accomplish their goals. And now, that's right, I give to you graduates, this might surprise you, your homework. You thought you were done. And I'll give you a week off, but what I'd like to do, in a week, I would like you to log on to Capella. Skip the part about being a prospective learner. Skip the part about being a learner. Don't go to the course room. Go to the Capella University Alumni Association and look at ways that you can continue to learn, you can continue to grow, you can continue to advance in your career, and as our speaker, Jeanette Walls, said, you can reach a hand around and help those who are coming after you. We ask you to take advantage of this new community, the Alumni Association. Congratulations.
All right. Thank you, Marcia. Well, that concludes our program for today, so please remain seated as our newest graduates exit the auditorium. Mr. Grand Marshal.